lot of schools have been getting out lately, and that means that summer is here. Yay! Congratulations if you graduated, or if you just got through another year. That's a pretty good thing too. So, in honor of the start of summer, I have compiled a list of 6 books that I find to be rather appropriate for summer and that I plan on reading. So let's get started. The first one is Wild by Cheryl, which is the one that I'm actually currently reading right now. It's an autobiographical story about a young woman who, after her mother died and the subsequent failure of her marriage, decides to hike the Pacific Crest Trail all the way from the Mojave Desert to Washington State, which is a really long way. And she decides to do it all by herself, all on her own. And she's really ill prepared for it, but it turns out to be a good journey, I guess. I don't really know because I haven't finished it yet. She's very relatable, and I like that it's a true story. I like hearing about interesting people doing interesting things. It kind of reminds me of Into the Wild. If you've read that, then and if you liked that, then you'll probably really like this book. The next book is The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd. I actually read this my first year of high school, and I loved it, and I reread it again, I think 2 years ago, a couple years ago, and I loved it even more, and so I'm planning to reread it again because it's such a wonderful novel. It's good for summer because it takes place in summer, and in South Carolina, it's that sweltering heat. It just has a very summery feel to it. So let me tell you a little bit about it. It's set in 1964 in South Carolina, and it's about a young girl named Lily Owen. She's tortured by the foggy memory of the afternoon that her mother was killed. It definitely has some very heavy elements to it, and it deals with a lot of issues. Domestic violence, with racism, with civil rights, with suicide, and feminism. It definitely has a lot of really incredibly strong female characters that you can look up to and relate to. It is really great for teenagers or young adults. It definitely falls into that sort of coming of age, but it's not just a coming of age story. It's full of a lot of different things. The next one is a book that I probably should have read by now, but I haven't. A Midsummer Night's Dream by William Shakespeare. I picked this for obvious reasons. I mean, a midsummer, summer, night's dream, summer. And honestly, I don't actually know a whole lot about it besides just the general, it has something to do with fairies and donkeys and queens and something. I don't really know, but I'm gonna find out, and I'm excited to find out because this has been on my shelf for forever and a half, and I still haven't read it, and I really need to. So that's happening. A lot of people say that this is their favorite. My personal favorite of William Shakespeare right now is Hamlet, so I'm not entirely sure if this is going to live up to that because these two seem to be pretty different, but I am excited to finally read A Midsummer Night's Dream, and you should too. The next book is a book that I have also had on my shelf for a very long time. I haven't seen anyone else talk about this, and I really just picked it up on a whim. It's called Five Skies, and it's by Ron Carlson. According to the back cover, it's set in southern Idaho, and it's about 3 men who work together on some sort of construction project, and during their time together, they sort of reveal who they really are. That's about it. I guess they sort of figure out if that's a good or bad thing. But it's short, so I'm hoping that it'll be good. Yeah, I don't know, it just seemed summery to me, even though it seems like it's gonna be a little dark. We'll see. The next one is The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. Now, Neil Gaiman is one of my favorite authors, and if you've read anything by him, then you kind of have an idea of the feeling that you're going to get from this short little novel. Just to give you a short premise of the story, it's about a small boy who gets into a bunch of trouble and is involved in some very fantastical things, and that's really all I can say about it without giving away too much. It's very sweet, but it's also very melancholy, and it's full of fantasy. Pretty much just trademark Neil Gaiman. You should be able to read it within, a day or two, and so it's perfect to take with you on a weekend vacation or, on a cruise or to the beach or something like that. Last but not least, The Phantom Tollbooth by Norton. This is a classic. It's been around for quite a while, for good reasons. It's very lighthearted and funny. It's super easy to read. I mean, I read it when I was like 9 or something like that. It's the perfect thing to read when you're bored, when you don't know what to do, when it's way too hot outside, you can't go to the pool, when you have just, you get in those kind of summer slumps sometimes. I would recommend this because it actually has a lot to do with boredom, and you just get transported into this fantastic world. So that's it. I hope this list helped a little bit, and happy reading!